Do you enjoy listening to the Luna Podcast? You can now find us on Patreon at the Luna Pod, where you can show your support for the podcast for only $1 a month. Or for a little bit more, you can get early access and bonus episodes, contribute to our podcast segments, and receive exclusive video content as we film our reactions, reviews, and discover new K-pop groups. Head over to Patreon now to join the community. We can't wait to chat with you. I was telling my coworker about this episode, like the whole concept behind it, and she said it was basically like fantasy football for K-pop.
That's a pretty accurate...
Yeah, I don't really know fantasy football, I'm not gonna lie.
Me neither. This is the only football I'll ever like. Hi, welcome to the Luna Pod, where we talk all things K-pop. I'm Brooke.
I'm Raquel. We absolutely love SuperM, and even though their next comeback is kind of up in the air right now, we are very excited for them to return. This episode isn't really us, like, replacing the current members. It's more of us making our own version of SuperM, who we think would make up an amazing supergroup like SuperM does, but also cross company, because I'm not dealing with that. Everyone's in the running.
Yeah.
And so now all of these people are going to reside under Luna Entertainment.
Welcome.
I love it. Copyright?
I wish. Yeah, that's basically our extreme fantasy and biggest delusion ever is like owning our own company and having trainees and like making a group.
That would be absolutely amazing. We have like a few big dreams and goals that we're working towards. This one's, again, like
this
you
one's
said,
a pipe dream.
Yeah, this one's a pipe dream. But like if we won the $1 billion lottery, we'd be set.
Yeah, I'd be calling up these idols immediately.
For real. So with that, let's go into how this all started of delusionally creating a K-pop group with top idols. I think it basically started, we were at the E-Last concert.
Yeah, we were waiting in line, I think just to even like check in.
Yeah,
for
like
everything.
we were just literally waiting in line, and we were just brought up the idea of like who would be in our ideal SuperM group if we could choose who was in it. And then we whipped out Pinterest, love her, and started throwing together pictures of we're like, ooh, maybe this person, this person, this person. And we jokingly called it Super N, which I still think is hilarious, I'm not gonna lie.
This is just kind of the bored waiting in line stuff that you do at concerts.
It's true, and honestly, it was brilliant of us. And here we are months later, and got a whole episode about it. So without further ado, let's jump right into the members of Super N. Starting off with who I think we've decided is going to be our, quote, leader of the group, Jackson Wang.
How can we choose anyone else for this?
For real. That is the most obvious and perfect choice we could possibly do. Anyway, Jackson Wang was born March 28th of 1994, meaning he is 29 at the time of this episode. His representative emojis are a crown and a turtle.
Now, I agree with the crown.
Yes.
Full-heartedly. The turtle, I can't get behind that.
You were telling me because, like, Hyungwon from Monsta X.
Yes. That is the most turtle man I've ever seen in my entire life.
You know that, am I turtly enough for your turtle club from The Master of Disguise?
What?
Have you seen The Master of Disguise?
No, I literally don't even know what that is. I don't know what the reference you're talking about at all.
Oh my god, we have to watch that movie.
Anywho, yeah, Hyungwon's very turtle. Like, he'll just even make a face. And, like, the way his upper lip falls onto his bottom, it makes sense. But, like, Jackson doesn't have that. Like, crown, king.
Oh, yeah, that makes so much sense for him.
sense.
And, like, there's other animals I would, like, think of him as a representative emoji first. But anyway, we're gonna go with crown for our group here. Mm-hmm. Jackson Wang is originally from the group GOT7.
As if he's, like, already moved to us. He's no longer in GOT7.
He's now
left.
Super N.
And so we are kind of saying their position and roles within the group, but we're also like saying what their position was, their old group. It can transfer over. Mm-hmm. So he is main rapper, lead dancer, face of the group, and like we said, our leader. And we chose him as our leader because he's just very level-headed and responsible and like very respectful towards everyone.
Yeah.
Like you see that in any interview, any like all of his concerts, even the way he's like respecting his fans and just the interactions between them. And his mind, like he's just so creative.
He's just brilliant in like every aspect. I mean, if you have seen any of his individual music videos, you will know exactly what we're talking about. He has just got the most brilliant mind. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of the people that we chose to be in this group have leader-like qualities or like the potential to be a leader, but Jackson Wang feels like the best fit for this group.
I think so too.
So as we kind of stated, the reason we chose Jackson Wang to be in this group is because he has such a creative mind. So having him working on like group concepts and storytelling and like music videos in general would just be incredible. Top notch. I can see the money rolling in already.
Honestly. And our next member is Kim Kpop, who goes by Key. He's originally from SHINee.
Originally? I love it. We're just gonna keep going with this.
Yeah. And he was born September 23rd, 1991, making him 31, and his emoji is a cat. Makes sense. Perfect fit.
Yeah, we needed a cat in this group, and it was just,
Yeah.
amazing.
Each group needs a cat.
Exactly.
And his positions are lead rapper, lead dancer, and sub vocalist. And we basically chose him because he's an icon and a legend.
Period.
I really don't have to say much more, but I mean, again, he's just very talented. And honestly, in this world that we're creating, SuperM still very much exists. And the idea of having him and Taemin, who's in SuperM, go against each other is hilarious to me.
It's so funny. Like, their bickering is so hilarious to me. So
So the idea of them being against each other like that,
That'd be
like
so
across
funny.
groups, is hilarious.
You can just, like, they would be throwing shade in live streams constantly at each other. It'd be
they really
so
would.
funny.
Like, Taemin would be requesting to, like, enter the
he
live.
would. Like, annoyingly often, to be completely honest. I love him to death. Our next member is going to be Lee Hotek, who goes by Hui, originally from Pentagon. He was born August 28th, 1993, which, happy birthday, Hui, because you just turned 30.
Yay, happy birthday.
That's such a great age to turn.
And whenever I was looking it up, I was nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, is he literally about to be shipped off to enlistment? But he did his years ago, so thank God.
Oh, we're still getting into
That stressed me
Pentagon.
out.
Oh, yeah, we're still learning the whole Pentagon history. We'll have episodes about that in the future, but yeah, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Anyway, his representative emojis are going to be a chicken and an otter. Again, I feel like an otter is a little bit more
Yeah,
fitting for him.
I can see both of them.
Yeah, I can too.
but
Still a little
I
bit of bird.
I feel otter.
Yeah, I am too. That's cute.
Yeah, it is. They're small. I mean, chickens are too, but like
In a different way.
That's so stupid of a
but
comment.
I feel
but
like they're like small in different ways.
they're small in energy too. Otters have small energies. So does we.
It's a controversial.
Why?
Small energy.
I don't know. He's so cute and tiny. I love you.
For Hui's position and role, he is main vocalist, lead dancer, and producer. We chose him because he is a vocalist that deserves so much more recognition. And, you know, he might have been robbed on Boys Planet, but never again.
No, we got you, babe. And next we have another big vocalist. We have Yoo Ki-hyun, originally from Monsta X, and his birthday is November 22nd, 1993. So he's currently 29, and his emoji is a hamster.
Again, very fitting for him.
And he will still be the main vocalist in this, so we'll have those two with each other, Hui and Ki-hyun.
Oh my gosh. Like,
My ears would bleed out of joy.
for real. We chose probably two of the best vocalists in K-pop to be in this
Well,
group.
I know, and I mean, again, that's why we chose Ki-hyun, because we have always said, I literally do not care what anyone says against this. He is the best singer.
Yeah,
He's
he's
like best vocalist.
He literally has one of the best voices in all of K-pop.
It's gorgeous, and like live, somehow better.
Yeah. Stay tuned. We're going to have a whole episode dedicated to the tops of K-pop. He'll be coming up in there as well. Our next member is also originally from Monsta X, Loo?
Loo Joon! Loo Joon!
This is his stage name.
Loo?
Lee Joo-hun, also known as Joo Honey, or as we often refer to him, just Honey. He was born October 6, 1994, which makes him 28 years old, and his representative emoji, you'll never guess, a bee or a honeypot.
The honeypot is so him.
It is. His position and role is going to be main rapper and sub-vocalist, and we chose him because, similar to some other vibes of the members of these groups, an underrated rapper and vocalist both.
People like heavily forget that Monsta X exists.
Yeah.
And like their talent. Honey's rapping is insane, and he sings a lot. He has a lot of like vocal moments in the group as well. Yeah, his vocals are next level, and like you just wouldn't expect that coming from him. So I feel like it'd be nice to kind of have his vocals throughout like these songs with these members. It would be a nice contrast.
And his rap definitely has like a coolness to it. Like
Yeah.
it's very, very nice. And I feel like that's going to be such a great sound when you're imagining like this group of people together. He's just going to add a wonderful like flavor to the group. Honey flavor, actually.
Lay, honey. I'll throw up right here. I'll throw up right now.
Honey. Honey.
Well,
Got you. Mommy.
I was joking the other day that I just want to like sing that to him if I ever meet him.
For real.
That's how I'm gonna
has
woo
no one
Honey.
ever done this before?
I don't know.
I refuse to believe that we're the first people.
If you out there have sang Honey by Lay, to Juhani. How did that go? How did that end?
Please give us all the details.
Next member is Kwon Soon-young, also known as Hoshi. He's originally from 17 and he was born June 15th, 1996. So currently 27, and his emoji is a tiger. Duh. Everyone knows he's a tiger.
Yes.
And his position is main dancer, center, lead vocalist, and sub rapper.
And like we said before, severely underrated.
I think so too.
Like rapper and vocalist.
Yeah, I feel like whenever people think of him, like they obviously think of him just as like a dancer. Like that's like your main thought of performing wise, like because I mean he is on the performance team.
I mean, amazing. He's gonna bring some amazing choreo to this group. But yeah, he also has like an incredible voice as well. And I feel like Hoshi is on that level of like professionalism that like when I was first getting to know who was all on SuperM, I often confused myself and thought Hoshi was in SuperM originally.
You like already thought he was already there?
Yeah, like for a hot second until I
mean, it like mentally makes a lot of sense.
It really does.
So we're doing him right by putting him in our group.
Exactly. Now, last but not least of this 7-member group we have thrown together is going to be Yoo Tae-yang. Originally from SF9, born February 28th, 1997, which makes him 26 years old and our maknae.
I'm sorry, but just in like so side note, the fact that a lot of SF9 is a lot younger than I thought they were. Like there are members who are younger than me. That was like a shock to my system.
Oh yeah.
Now Taeyang, he's technically older than me, but like same year, which even that like blows my mind because like mentally all those members should be at least 2 years older than me.
I know, they just give off a more mature vibe.
Yeah.
So I love this dynamic that we're having with our maknae because he's such a like mature, suave maknae. Love it. His representative emoji is a sun. How cute. Love that.
We have a lot of like yellows going on emoji wise.
Which I feel like
cute.
Yeah. Taeyang's position and role is main dancer, face of the group, and maknae, as we said before. He is an absolutely amazing performer and he's just gonna bring such an elegance to the group and just really enhance that like performance aspect of it. And we were trying to decide who to have as like the face of the group, and I feel like Taeyang is a good one for that.
I think so too.
Yeah. And like as we go through all of this, like obviously things are still kind of up in the air. We just talk about this on the random just to fill time and like daydream about it. So this is like a very rough thrown together, but I feel like we've solidified it enough that it makes sense and it's everything and we want to share it. But
like maybe eventually we'll like kind of give an update if like mentally we'd like come up with more things. Just
Super End Part 2. Now let's get into the group dynamic because we've listed all of our members. We have Jackson Wang, we have Ki, Hui, Ki Hyun, Juhani, Hoshi, and Taeyang. So we were like just spitballing the idea of like what if there's like a subunit thing or like just like duos in general, like just like their relationship with each other or like their dynamics. So let's start off with Honey and Hoshi, which their like duo name could be Hunchy. Hunchy? That's so cute.
It is.
That's adorable. And I feel like that group dynamic would be very cute in general and just very like silly. And like honestly, I feel like Hoshi would probably look up to Honey a lot, which is just very endearing to me. So I feel like their relationship would just be so cute. Also, talk about a visual group. Their photos would be amazing.
Oh my god. They would. Did you see the photos Hoshi just posted? Oh my gosh. Pause.
Oh my god.
The man's just out here working out.
Well, I didn't need that and images of Honey's ripping his shirt open during our concert. Them two working out together. I'm digging my grave.
No. You don't want to talk about Hunchy. Now the next one will be Honey and Ki, and we just kind of decided Juki.
Juki, it's adorable. Yeah. Fantasy football, Jukes. Juki.
That means nothing to me. What does that mean?
When they juke out of the way? Ew,
that's
that is gross.
Called?
Yeah.
Like
who am
dodge, I don't know.
And that's basically, it's just like
Juking?
blasting out of the way, juking. Yeah.
Juking, okay.
Why do I know that?
Who
are you?
Who are you? Anyway, this would be a good, like, yes, just dynamic duo anyway, because they would both have very sarcastic interactions.
Yes,
and
they would.
Their, like, humor together would be really nice. But this is definitely perfect for a subunit.
Yes.
So expect Gasoline and Freedom together.
That would be an anthem. Yeah.
Both of those are very, like, K-pop anthem-y.
This next group dynamic is probably one of our top favorites. It is Ki-hyun and Hui, which, Brooke, you're a genius.
Thank you.
For this one. The ship name is Ki-hui.
I'm dead. And you could literally use the emoji kiwi when talking about them. It is so cute.
It's adorable. And they're also both vocal kings. So again, another subunit opportunity here. And their interactions would just be so cute together, which I feel like, again, fits a kiwi so adorably.
Like they both have just really cute smiles. So them like laughing, just having a good good time together, I would sob.
Did we just like create what the kiwi emoji embodies?
Yes, and we were like scouring the internet for photos of
Yeah.
them side by side.
There was
and
a single time.
Yeah, like
where they
one
were
time.
together.
I don't even know what it was from, but we found it. There was one where they were actually standing side by side, and another one where they were separated. I photoshopped it so they're
And they were
side
so
by side.
like baby too. Like this was years ago.
Yeah, this was years ago, but it was so cute. And I'm like, yeah, this needs to be an actual thing. It needs to be talked about.
Yes. Favorite duo? Kiwi from SuperM.
Yep.
No one will have any idea what we're talking about, but y'all listening know. You're welcome. Now, do not mistake Kiwi for our next group dynamic of Ki and Hui, which we're like, no, that's Kiwi is very specifically Kihui, which is Kihyun and Hui, whereas Ki and Hui is Huibum. I know it could be confusing. Don't get it confused. So Ki and Hui, I feel like they would be very playful vibes, like very much brother energy, with Hui being like the little brother energy and Ki being his normal annoyed self with younger brother energy. But I feel like they could also like have some amazing collaboration and come up with some incredible ideas. I'm just thinking of like the vibes of Gasoline or Killer mixed with Hui, but Triple H version.
Ooh, specifically Killer. Like, that would be really nice.
Right? I don't know. That's just amazing. And also just like the androgyny that these two could bring together. Like just their whole vibes are immaculate.
Ooh, okay, wait. Weebum might be the duo to have magazine cover shoots together.
Yes.
That,
Oh my gosh.
I need it.
Yeah. Yeah. We're already signing the deals.
Our next duo is Key and Jackson, which have the cutest name ever, Jackie.
I love it.
They're both very creative, so this would be an amazing group together. And I don't know if we're necessarily thinking subunit, but at least like creative team wise, like them working on like the design for different comebacks and music videos together. Like that's what I would love together. Like just in the studio a lot together. Their personalities together would have like a really fun dynamic as well.
Yeah, they would, because I feel like they would together be very mature, but have that like mature humor. Like, I don't know how to explain that. Like, kind of not quite dad joke. It's like the level right before dad joke.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. Our next duo is going to be Kihyun and Taeyang, which is the U line, their last names being the same. And honestly, I feel like that just tends to happen in like groups. Like if you have the same last name, you just automatically have like a dynamic together. So love that. We also have a very similar situation with Hui and Honey, which is being the Lee line.
Next we have Jackson and Taeyang. Those are going to be our visuals.
100%.
Now I know I already said we had a magazine cover.
Magazine vibes and visuals are like, it's a different vibe. Yeah.
But I also kind of want one with them.
I kind of want one with everyone. I'm not gonna lie,
That's
but
true.
yes.
They, in my brain, would just have a very creative and intellectual relationship, but it's also very endearing.
Yes.
Like-
Well, because it's like, it's the leader and the Macne. So
Yeah.
like, but also you have, again, they're both very mature and creative. So it's like, it's not like what I feel like your typical like baby Macne and like leader-esque relationship would be. I think it would be really, really cool. And I feel like their ship name would end up being something in relation to their dynamic.
Yeah, something like, just like during one of their interactions, like something would happen and then the fans would make a ship name. Because like running off of their names, we weren't really vibing with like any of the options here.
No. Which, by the way, when we say ship name, we mean like just they're as a dynamic duo,
like a
their
duo.
names together. Last but not least, in our group dynamic section is going to be Hoshi and Taeyang. Their ship name would be Taishi.
Yeah, that
Love
is a really cute one.
And they are the Macne line, so that's just, I feel like that's very fitting. They're also top performers. And so what do we get from top performers? Mix and max performances.
Those are my favorite thing ever. So like most of you have probably seen one of those on Studio Choom, but if you haven't, just type in Studio Choom Mix and Max and so many will come up. Like there's been a lot of good ones.
Yes,
lately.
they are all top tier. Like everyone that we've watched have just been absolutely incredible. So having these two absolutely amazing top performers, dancers, doing one of these together, iconic.
We're going to take a small break and remind you that if you're enjoying this episode so far, make sure to follow the podcast and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss an upload in the future. And if you'd like to show some love, feel free to give us a rating as well. We'd really appreciate it. Before we jump back into the episode, we're going to introduce our new segment. And if you're familiar with Card's song Icky, this is where this comes from, is BM's tip of the week. And yes, we are talking about guidance.
This week, we are going to be talking about utilizing Pinterest as a K-pop fan. Because like we said earlier, this is kind of how we got together our whole SuperM idea. Pinterest can be an extremely useful guide for a K-pop fan. It's a very good way to figure out a potential bias.
Yeah, it's my first go-to. So when I'm curious about a group, there's a lot of Pinterest accounts that will have boards for so many different groups, like 20 plus groups. And so those are my go-to, and they'll have sections for each member. And so I'll just scour those and then get the vibe of each member and see who I'm feeling. And like that helps me narrow it down a little more.
I usually end up just pinning thousands of pins, and then I see who I have the most pictures saved of, and that usually kind of helps deter me in one way or the other.
Yeah, that's another good way to tell.
It also just gives you up-to-date photos, so that's good to know as a fan as well, because I feel like it's constantly updated.
Yeah, I have a few that I specifically follow because I know they update pretty often.
Pinterest is also a really good way to keep everything organized and have like boards for each group and sections for members. So that way you can keep your thoughts, your ideas, your favorite pictures all organized very, very nicely.
And like personally, I keep a board. I do have like a separate board for Yoongi because I've started that like forever ago, and there's like thousands of photos, but I do have a separate one for K-pop in general, and the ones that get their own section in it are my biases. The rest are just like clumped in as a group. But yeah, I'll like specify ones for my biases and like make little like cute emojis for them and like try to just keep my favorite photos in there.
Yours are very organized and pretty.
Yes, thank you.
Mine is a cluster of so much. The Pinterest board is called Heart Attack, and it is literally just like a million different sections of like individual idols and then their group name afterwards. It's a disaster.
Okay.
But
Mine
mine
has evolved a lot. Like I used to kind of keep everyone separate, and that was like way too much for me because I was getting too many people. So I was like, okay, you're going to your groups, and now like only certain people get their separate ones. And I also like you can change the order of the sections, and so I keep my like top biases towards the top of the list, and I'll move them around if it changes.
So I do keep mine alphabetical by group.
Oh, okay.
By group. So it is just like, it's a ton of sections, but
Yeah.
it is kind of organized.
Okay. And I just feel like it's a good way to do, because like me personally, like yes, I do still save a lot of photos of idols on my phone, but it's still nice to keep more. It's like a backup storage basically.
It really is.
Because I don't necessarily need those on my phone every day. Like it's nice for certain photos, but
if
it's
you
good
want
to
a
just keep
certain
them
picture
there.
of a member, I know exactly where to go because I've already pinned that.
So if you want to stay just a little more organized with like your bias list or just K-pop idols in general, definitely just utilize Pinterest more if you're not already.
And I think that wraps up our first time doing this segment. I am so excited to continue doing this. It's just going to continue to be random tips for you as a K-pop fan.
Yeah, some of them might relate to like the topic that we're talking about. It just depends.
But yeah, I remember we were cracking up when we came up with this segment idea because we love Card. We love BM or Matthew. We absolutely adore him. And this line from their song is so iconic and hilarious. And we would love to share some tips with you guys. Guidance.
Like actual guidance.
Actual guidance. So let's jump back into SuperM, our group that we are creating. Let's talk about the overall group vibes. So first of all, our oldest member is 31 and the youngest is 26. So I feel like they're on like the older side anyway. I say older in quotations. It's just like the K-pop industry older, I guess. So it's more like an adult group. So they can be more mature and they're more seasoned. Like they've been around, they know what they're doing. And it's just giving off a very specific mature vibe. I don't really know how to explain that any other way. I'm also just imagining very highly creative concepts that really add into their entire lore that we're going to create for them. We also have some of the top vocalists and top performers all in one group. We're going to have killer high notes. We're going to have peak choreo moments. It's going to be absolutely iconic. So this is really just, they're giving SuperM a run for their money. And that was our goal when creating this.
Honestly, and I feel like we've done like a decent job. You know, like SuperM is stacked up. Like they're amazing. So I feel like honestly, out of like there are so many artists who are so incredibly talented, but to have the guts to say like they could stand up there with them, like I think these idols are pretty good to do that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There was a lot of thought that went into this. This was not just taken lightly.
Yeah. So for music, just like the overall sound, not necessarily like songs that like they would be doing, but you know, just sound wise,
the vibe.
We came up with a few songs, and the first one, Chronograph by Victon.
Yes, this is the vibe of SuperM that we have been like trying to pin down. It's Chronograph. And also Super by 17. That was another one that we listened to and were immediately like, yes, this is the group dynamic. This is the vibe that we're wanting to go for.
It's a very powerful song, and I mean, it's called Super anyway, so hello.
Perfect.
No, we're sorry if you do hear something in the background. It's our new kitten, like, playing with his toy. He has a little like, it's, what is it? Like a little cat with a feather on top and it has
it's
a
like
ball.
a ball in like a little ring, so it makes a lot of noise. But we are so excited to introduce him to our family, and we're going to be giving him a spotlight, introducing him to y'all, and doing a name reveal. But if you do hear his little toys in the background, so sorry.
Another song was Want It More by Luminous. This is a group we don't know too much about, but we were kind of, what did we do? Did we look up a song?
Yeah,
and
there's
it gave
like a
recommendations?
way, I can't remember if it's through Spotify or not, but it's something where you can type in a song and they give you a bunch of songs that sound, quote, similar. And we were just kind of going through that with Chronograph and Super, and Want It More popped up, and I was like, ooh, yeah, that is a good sound for them. The next song that we think fits into their whole overall sound is going to be Double Dare by Just Be. I absolutely love this song and I forget it exists sometimes, but I feel like Double Dare fits right into that perfect energy that we were trying to find for them. Some other songs that kind of fit the vibe were Love Me or Leave Me by Day 6, and then a couple of different songs from Kingdom. And this will make more sense as we're going kind of into their albums and lore we've created. Yes, we did create an entire lore and album series of debuts for them.
And I guess we can jump right into the albums and lore. So bear with us as we're pronouncing some of these things.
We derived it from like a lot of Norse mythology because it just like, we were trying to come up with something and it just clicked and it just felt so right. So we went with it. Some of the names we're not quite sure how to pronounce, so bear with us. The name of this group, aside from SuperM, again, if we are going with this lore and this like whole idea, right, would be Einherjar. I know that's a mouthful. It's spelled Einherjar. The fandom would be called Valkyrie. Their colors would be black, gold, and deep blue. Their light stick would be a globe with wings, and their flower, yes, we did give them a flower, would be a white dahlia. I know that's a lot of like crazy words. The meaning behind this is that the Einherjar are known as a band of spirits of elite warriors who ended up dying, and then the Valkyrie take them to Valhalla once they've been proven worthy after death. So a lot of noble warriors wanted to become Einherjar after they died. And basically, to keep this as simple as possible, Odin, who's like one of the Norse gods, has them up in this Valhalla, which is kind of like a heaven or an afterlife for them, kind of has them up there so that they can fight in this big final battle of Ragnarok.
So basically, like, our lore is starting at like the point of them battling, being these warriors, all the way through like Valkyrie taking them to Valhalla, leading up to Ragnarok.
Yes.
That's like the theme throughout all the albums.
It's iconic. I love
I know,
this
and I like, this is why I want to do this. Like,
I
want
right? Like
somebody give me money. At least pay me off first.
At least pay me.
Pay me first.
Listen, Jackson Wang's manager team, I know you're out there.
Team Wang.
Team Wang, I know you're listening.
Email us at podtheluna. Listen.
Email us at podtheluna.
Email us at podtheluna@gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Yes, I know it sounds backwards, but that's all that was available.
So let's start with their very first album that they would debut with. We weren't able to pin down a name for this album. There was like Sons of Odin floating around or like some sort of warrior-esque, like something like that. We're not quite sure. That's kind of still up in the air. But kind of talking about like as if it was the music video, right? It would start with there being like a lot of smoke and the members are like mid-battle. So that's kind of the theme, is that they're like in battle and war. And then there's a death scene and then eventually being chosen by the Valkyrie. So that's kind of like our whole part of the lore in this first album.
And so concept-wise, definitely having like just battle outfits, a lot of like bloody scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of
they're
swords
actively
flying.
in war. Yeah.
Kind of for the battle scenes, if you haven't seen it, one is the song Come Back Home. There's a lot of scenes in that I felt like were perfect. Like that was my first thought when we came up with this.
And then also I feel like outfit-wise, the outfit that Jackson Wang wears in 100 Ways specifically would be really beautiful to have.
I think the sound for this, I mean, I wrote it as like beautifully harsh. I don't even know if that makes any sense. Like a beautiful death kind of sound.
Yeah.
Like, I know what I'm saying when I say that. I just don't know if people are like grasping.
Because like it's like war. It's like battle. So it's like harsh. But it's also like cinematic.
We got vocals.
Exactly.
And so
we've
kind
got
of
a peak hui note in there. You know, he's like in the mid like final stab. He's hitting that high note.
So kind of still falling into that, referencing Come Back Home as well, I think, for sound.
Yeah, agreed.
And so the end scene would kind of just be everyone dead, gone, on the floor. They come to. We'll have other warriors in the scenes, but they're the ones, like our members are the ones that come back.
Yes,
and they,
like they're
come
the chosen ones.
Yes.
They're the Inheryar.
And so they start like crawling, and then some of them might like meet the boots of like Valkyrie or see like flying in the air, like, you know, just like wings, like a lot of Valkyrie imagery happening here. And so now that we've gotten to that scene, we'll jump into our next album, which we actually, I think for the rest of these, we did come up with album names.
Yes, we did. And this one's actually a 2-part album.
Part 1 will be Valkyrie Valhalla. And so starting kind of like where we left off, but now we've like officially been taken by the Valkyrie and entering this big dining hall of Valhalla.
Because like, again, it's like an afterlife, something like that. And the theme wise, they're just like enjoying and they're dining, because part of the whole like lore behind this is that they feed, like they eat a lot to like keep their strength up so that they're ready for Ragnarok. There's also a part of it. So first of all, we need to talk about this because the Valkyrie play a big part of this. We very specifically chose the fandom to be called Valkyrie because that's such a cute dynamic between the group and the fans. Because during this part of Valhalla, the Valkyrie actually feeds them what's called mead, which is basically fermented honey water. So they're like nursing them to health. They specifically like keeping them strong. And also just like side note, but like the fact that the Valkyrie choose the members, quite literally how we chose these members to be in this group, I just find it very endearing. But anyway, so yeah, here we have like the Valkyrie feeding them. The whole concept is just very carefree, but I feel like it has like a little bit of a royal flair.
And I feel like concept wise, the scene from, I mean, honestly, a lot of BTS Blood, Sweat, Tears, but like the scene where they're all like at the long dining table.
Yes.
Is a good reference for that.
Yeah. Or like Stray Kids Venom. It's a very similar vibe there. And I kind of like the vibe of like TXT's Can't You See Me, where they're having a food fight. I know that sounds weird, but just like the whole vibe of that being very unreal feeling, I guess. I don't really know how to explain that.
It was very carefree and kind of like, I mean, it had like a darker undertone to it. So it had, I don't know, not afterlife feel, but we can kind of tie that into what we're doing. And like theirs was very like young, youthful, coming of age, but with the royal aspect, I feel like that'd be really cool to see.
Exactly. And since this is such like a blissful place that they're in, I feel like that whole psychedelic sound would be really good in this. So almost like a psychedelic ballad. We have very siren-esque sounds happening here, angelic sounds. Honestly thinking like TXT Sugar Rush Ride vibes there, sound-wise. Or like honestly 10's Birthday, where it's not as in your face psychedelic, but it's got like those undertones. And like we said earlier, this is going to kind of transition the end of the music video into the part 2, which is the next album that's going to be released, called Valkyrie Vingolf. This is basically like the other part of Valhalla, like the
other side of their preparation.
Yeah, which is where they prepare for battle by fighting. So concept-wise, I want this to be like more artsy. Like I want it to have like darker outfits and books and corsets.
I mean, that kind of feels like dark academia.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly
That'd
what
be
we
really
want.
pretty.
Yes, but it's also battle-esque because they're getting ready, but it's not a heavy getting ready. It's almost like a fun, like we're preparing, because again, we're still in the afterlife. We're still kind of enjoying ourselves.
Yeah, and like they were chosen for this, and like other noble warriors wanted to become this. So it's something that like they're looking forward to. It's not like, oh, I gotta go like practice again. I gotta go, like, you know, they're here for it.
And so honestly, the first thing that popped into my mind was AT's Wonderland. That kind of like battle march type sound could be cool incorporated. But one of the songs that I absolutely love for like a sound idea for this album would be 458 by CIX. It's like very anticipatory. So like there's a lot of build up and then big sound that happens. So I feel like that would just be a very cool sound for this album.
And in general, we liked a lot of the imagery from that music video anyway. So I feel like we took ideas from that for other parts of like their lore.
Now, the ending of this, because it is kind of the end of this 2-part series, we do need to explain a little bit. So the end is going to have like a crow sound in the background, because in the Norse mythology, when it is time for Ragnarok to start, there are 3 different roosters that crow to signal the start of Ragnarok. So these 3 roosters are in 3 different areas, and one of them is in Valhalla, where we're imagining kind of gold feathers or like golden rooster symbols shown, maybe in the armor, something like that, just to kind of symbolize this rooster in Valhalla that has now signaled, possibly have some like super deep lore heavy of like Odin's voice being like, the time has come, or like, I don't know, something super cheesy. We're basically writing a whole fan fiction. So
then we kind of want to not derail, but like a side 2-parter. Where we can work in subunits, and this is the story of where the other roosters are. So the first one is the crow, sorry for pronunciation, but these words are crazy, Galgvior, something like that, woods. So Galgvior woods, roughly. And this subunit will be Ki, Kihyun, Hui, and Taeyang. And so,
First of all, I'm so excited about this subunit.
oh, I know.
This
they
is incredible.
would be amazing.
Yeah.
And so with their start for music video, kind of just like introducing this forest setting, because that is where this other rooster resides, and have these members kind of looking or hunting for something. I think we kind of decided, correct me if I'm wrong, because we were like just going through so many ideas when we were doing this, that they're not even necessarily, they're not playing their characters at this point. They're kind of just like...
just symbolizing what's happening.
Yeah. So like
Yeah.
if you were watching this music video and you see these characters that these members are playing, they're currently not the Einherjar at this point. They're kind
Right.
of just like these side characters for these two subunit albums to like just represent what's going on.
Exactly.
elsewhere.
Like if you were to take out these two albums, they could be their own separate thing, but like they also could fit into the lore. Like we wanted it to be kind of a side thing, but still fit in.
And so we really just wanted the theme to be very like foresty, dreamy, and have like this deceit and hiding concept in a way.
Yeah, like a little dark
Yeah.
undertones there.
And so with this rooster, it's symbolized by having red feathers. So we would like to kind of either have the members have like accents of red feathers or strings on
Like
their outfits.
flowy, very
Yeah,
flowy
something
outfit.
flowy, especially since we're like in a forest, that makes sense. So having those outfits represent that rooster. And then for sound, we could have harps, just very woodland and almost an indie influence into it, I think.
And in this specific lore, the name of this crow is like very heavily associated. Norse mythology gets very complex, but this rooster's name and character is kind of connected to a very specific character that plays a harp during this like sound for the signal of Ragnarok. So that's why we kind of got harp sounds as well. Yeah, and I love like maybe a little indie influence here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I would eat that up because if I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
listening to K-pop, I'm either listening to my classic rock groups like those bands or an indie-ish sound.
Well, and I feel like, again, with this subunit specifically, that just fits them so
They
well.
would do really well.
Yeah. So for the end of this music video, we would have them, quote, finding this rooster, not necessarily finding a literal rooster, but more just symbolizing that they found the rooster with like having red feathers or them in these red outfits, and then having the crow sound to signal this second crow of Ragnarok.
Yeah, so now like this timeline links up with what we just finished in Valkyrie Vingolf. The next album will be the second subunit, and they'll be in The Crow Hell, and it'll be Jackson, Honey, and Hoshi.
This group, oh my gosh, this is like the last rooster that we're finding,
Yes.
right? And it's quite literally like the underworld. It's very dark. It's very moody, which I feel like fits this subunit so well. Think of Victon waking up in a pile of rubble from falling. That's kind of like where we're starting with
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Very Mayday. And similar to the last concept with the red feathers and strings outfits symbolizing this rooster, we'll have that in Hell with black wings that kind of have a really deep red undertone.
Right, which is part of the mythology. We were just trying to stay true to that a little bit more. Which the gold feathers from Valhalla, we just chose gold because of Valhalla. I don't think that rooster had specific colors, but
Yeah,
the
I
other
don't
ones
know.
were like reddish.
And so with this concept, we're kind of thinking of Jackson Wang's Cruel. If you watch the music video, like his interaction with that woman, I was like, we were watching, I was like, that's the rooster.
Vibe. Yep.
And sound-wise, we wanted to stick to like a dark and sultry vibe and having a slight rock influence. I feel like that would be done
my
so
gosh.
well, especially with these people we have down here
Yeah.
now. Like, yes.
Jackson, Honey, and Hoshi doing a rock album.
Oh, I would die.
What? We would so many awards being won.
Honestly. And so this one would end, the members are leaving Hell, and then at some point there is again that growing sound that symbolizes Ragnarok has started, and the members will come up and leave Hell, and as they're coming up, I was just envisioning like maybe snow
Snowy,
falling
dark.
through or something. That'd be kind of cool to have like the visualization of like snow falling into Hell. I don't know if that's really accurate to this mythology, but it's our concept, so we're doing it.
Exactly.
And so they go up and they see that, I don't know how to pronounce the actual word, but the Great Winter has started, and that is like the true symbol that Ragnarok has in fact started.
Yes. So that like wraps it up. We've had the three crows sounding, and then we also have the Great Winter. So the next album that we come back all together, no more subunit, is going to be called Ragnarok. This is kind of our big final battle, last album. To start the music video off, stay with us here. We'll explain, this will all come full circle. You can see like a member or members, however you want to do this, kind of in like tattered clothing, like it's very dark. There's chains, there's like minimal movement, breath being seen, claw marks surrounding, and he breaks free from these chains, and it's symbolizing the Fenrir. I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, Fenrir. So if you're not familiar with Norse mythology, me act like I'm some pro all of a sudden, but
We're not, but we were
I
trying
want to
gather.
be. It's
I know,
literally
it was
so cool. I have a book at home that's like all about it. I need my mom to ship it.
amazing. Well, that's what when we like first discovered this, we were like, this is amazing. We have to do
I
this.
know. So Fenrir, first of all, I'm so sorry, but he's the son of Loki.
That's everything.
Now,
by itself.
again, of course, we have a very like Marvel brain set of Loki, so I live.
Yes.
But again, like, someone explain that. Because how did Loki have a son, but the son's like, Fenrir's like a wolf?
Well, and also the mother is a giantess.
Yeah, so like, I don't know what's going on. But
A lot of Old Norse and Greek
really
mythology is
interesting.
very intriguing. Yeah.
But Fenrir was chained up by the gods to a rock, and he would only be released upon the start of Ragnarok. So the second Ragnarok on and started, he rips from his chain. So we definitely wanted to symbolize that.
Like this big wolf.
Yeah.
Well, and isn't he, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, Fenrir and a couple other people, they are the ones who end up killing Odin.
Oh yeah, Fenrir is the one that kills Odin.
Yeah, so that's why like it's a very, for this whole Ragnarok theme, that's just very symbolic.
Yeah,
of,
it's a
like,
big
the
moment.
end. Yeah.
And like kind of similar how we mentioned earlier with like CIX 458 with him being like chained up, kind of lifted off the ground. Like I feel like that's a good reference for
This as
visual.
well, yeah.
Yeah. And so obviously the theme's very Ragnarok war and concept we're kind of going back to a battle scene, but very different. This one's a
Yeah.
bit more harsh almost.
Right, well, because this is like,
The end of the world.
yeah,
Literally.
literally. And so I feel like the sound, again, is also going full circle. It's very beautifully harsh. Like we said before, it's think Monster X Mercy or Augusty Snooze. That kind of a vibe sound-wise. Now, the end of Ragnarok, it basically symbolizes like a new birth. So like after Ragnarok happens and everything is destroyed, it's able to have the world reborn in its like beautiful state and like pure state. So it's like a fresh start for the world, kind of. So for the very end scene of this music video, we want them to be,
The boys will fall once again.
yes, that's part of the Inheryar's story, and is that they will all fall by the end of Ragnarok.
Yeah, they like fight alongside Odin and they fall as well.
Which is kind of beautifully symbolic for like the end of their group as well. And like it's very, I don't know, very sweet. Maybe, maybe not. But we would love to have the very last scene of like kind of the rubble and then like that very stereotypical like flower coming through the rubble of it being their flower, the white dahlias. We kind of threw around this idea of having white dahlia flowers scattered throughout this entire lore. So like when they're in the dining hall, they're like in a pot on the table, or like they're in this area that you happen to see on the side. Like you see them scattered all throughout, but then they're like symbolizing their flower like reblooming and becoming like this new era. So like again, they don't have to end there. They could bloom into something new and like have a whole other thing, but it would also be a nice ending.
It'd be a
point
nice
if
ending
needed.
as well. And so we really had a lot of fun, honestly, like
yeah,
coming
this
up
was
with this
so fun.
lore. And again, like nobody come for us. Like please nobody do this. Like yes, I want someone to do this because I don't know. I think this is a really good idea.
Yeah, no, it's a really fun story.
And like I'm kind of annoyed that it doesn't exist.
Right.
But I don't want this to exist unless I'm being paid. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of proud of us for coming up with all of this,
too.
honestly.
And like again, I feel like we're being very smart, and we're also having so like it was so much fun. We spent quite a bit of time like just throwing around ideas and like just being very creative with this.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys like enjoyed listening to this idea as well and kind of see our vision.
Yeah.
You know, like
I low-key want to write a fanfic now.
I know I want a
That'd
fanfic.
be a fun, like, really slowly worked on, because, like, dear
Ooh,
God.
yeah.
But, like, a slowly worked on project we do, and
my
then, like,
gosh.
release it at
What if
some
we did,
point.
like, a
That'd be fun. Y'all
webtoon?
want that?
Oh my gosh, what if
Wait,
we
how
wrote
do
it
how do
into
people
it?
do that? But I don't know, like, doing something, like, with a storyline, that'd be really fun for us.
Yeah. It's a cool concept.
Coming soon to Wattpad.
For real. Also, I need someone to like to Wattpad. Are we reviving her?
No. She's living.
I also need someone to like edit their voices together so that we can visually hear how amazing, like I can understand how amazing they'd sound together. And then I need photos edited. I need picture fan art drawn. I need the whole visuals for everything.
So someone artsy listening, do that.
For real.
Raquel's artsy, but she ain't got time.
I'm so busy.
But if for whatever reason you're like, why these people? I mean, I feel like we've already convinced you, but if you need like specific moments and like why you should stand each one of our members, for Jackson, just go to 100 Ways. Personally, that's like one of my favorites. It's very simple, but it's beautiful.
Yes, so good.
For Key, go listen to Gasoline. For Hui, us personally, I feel like this is very personal to
Yes,
us. Like,
it very much
this
is.
is where we got obsessed with him, but his Boys Planet, Shutdown, Cover, and Tomboy.
Yes, which I feel like these ones that we're explaining to, it's kind of like the version of them, like the persona of them that we're imagining in this group. So,
Yes.
yeah, take that as you will.
And then we have Kihyun's Voyager. I would say for that, do like a live performance of, so they can like fully hear his vocals.
Oh, any of Kihyun's live performances, honestly.
And then Honey, Freedom just came out not crazy long ago. And like that's like a perfect example of like even like the Freedom part, like where it was like more vocal, the visuals for that's really stunning and like kind of fits this vibe.
Yeah.
And then for Hoshi, Tiger, and Cheers, we all know the part in Cheers that we're talking about.
Oh, yes.
It's just
That
iconic,
Hoshi.
so you need to watch it again.
And like all of his solo stuff is amazing. So any of those, it's a good pick.
And then for Taeyang, just go watch a teardrop fan cam of him.
Oh,
His
yeah.
fan cams are honestly some of the best I've seen.
Oh yeah, they're amazing. Or also, during Kingdom Legendary War, they did a cover to Taemin's Move. That one's also really good if you want to check that out. So I think that kind of wraps up this chaos chapter of us creating our own Super M. So much fun, but before we go, we are going to do our song of the moment. This week it is going to be
In Bloom by Zero Base One. This has been out for a hot minute and I'm like still not over it.
No, me either. I know you were playing it all over and you would be humming it and then it got so implanted in my brain and it has not gotten out ever since. It's so good.
Like, and it's one of the songs that I'll listen to it on repeat. Like, it'll be finished and I'll immediately start it again. Like, I don't do that often with songs. Like, it just really depends. And like the sound of it, I'm just so obsessed with.
Yeah.
And as we're recording this, it's KCON weekend, and I just hope they're having a lot of fun on stage. And I really love them, and I'm really jealous of any Zeros that's seeing them.
I cannot wait for them to do a full proper tour.
Oh, I will.
Because we are going to be there.
I will be there. I'll be
We will be in our
up somehow.
Yes, we will be in our full Boytopia outfits.
Yeah, if you haven't listened to our Boys Planet episode, go listen to that because we talk about how we just really thought they were going to have this like Fairytopia vibe to the group. And so we just jokingly call them Boytopia all the time. So we're going to be dressed as fairies when we go to this tour.
100%.
Nobody's going to understand what's happening.
But we'll know.
Yeah.
And if you happen to be listening to this and you see us, we'll see. We got you. We'll know.
We'll see you, Bibbles.
If you want to shout out your favorite song for the Song of the Moment, as well as participate in more of our podcast segments, you can join our Patreon. So head right over there and definitely look forward to a lot of content coming up, more fun segments in the future. We would love to have your input and interaction in these. You can head over to Patreon and find us at the Lunapod. As always, you can find us on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube at the Lunapod, and on Instagram at the Luna Podcast for up-to-date information on episode releases and behind-the-scenes fun. We post all sorts of content, so definitely make sure to follow us and check that out. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
I don't know if this man can sue us for this.
I don't either.
I hope not. BM, Matthew. Matthew, please. Don't come for us.
We're talking about guidance. Guidance.